Let's get some prize picks in today, guys. Last night's picks went 3-3 on NBA, so I almost swept this Milwaukee versus Pelicans game. Honestly, it was a bit of a weird one. Pelicans were leading by quite a bit. Eventually, it got closer, and we got the minutes we needed, but Brook Lopez could not get this last bucket or maybe 2 more rebounds to go over this fantasy score. Everything else cashed pretty easily. And at the bottom here, I went for Boston versus Atlanta. Got this one wrong. I wanted Derek White to kind of step back last night, except he's the one that actually got 22 points. And Jaylen Brown was absolutely doing nothing. Kind of the opposite of what I wanted to happen happened. And this game was not a blowout at all. It ended up going to overtime. Obviously, 2 things went wrong when it comes to taking Jaylen Brown's over PRA and Derek White's under points. But I almost swept this game, which is pretty good to see. Other than that, I gave out this MLB slip. And you guys looking at like, wow, that's pretty terrible. What happened here? Like I said in last night's video, when I'm making a full correlation slip, I don't really care if the slip goes 1-4, 2-4, 0-4. You're still getting no payout no matter if you're getting 1 pick right or 3 picks right. So all I really care about is the 4-4. And if you take the slip on the reverse, it would have went 3-4 and it would have just been a bad beat on Screwball. He should have probably got another inning. I probably chose the worst game of an example of how this method works with taking the hits, runs, RBIs on the same team, because if you look at this White Sox game, it was literally the worst one last night in terms of scoring. They did not score 1 run. So obviously when I'm taking hits, runs, RBIs on 3 guys, honestly, I'm surprised they each got 1 here. They were the only ones on the team, I think, that even got a hit in the first place. So if you check here, yeah, these 3 guys in line are the only ones that got hits. No one was doing anything. 2 of them didn't even get their 4th at bat, which is honestly crazy. So it was a very bad example. If I went with like the Diamondbacks, for example, the 16-1 game, pretty much everyone cleared their hits, runs, RBI. And this is exactly what you're going for. Kind of a high scoring game where the other pitcher is not doing well. You see, they played 2.1 innings, allowed 10 hits, and only got 2 strikeouts. So if we went with that script on this specific game, we would have cashed. Obviously, this is an extreme case with 16 points, but you need at least a decent scoring game, like even a 5-4 or a 6-4, and the strategy works better. Obviously, in this case, it did not work because we chose the worst possible game to do this example with, but we're getting onto the board for today. And before I get into the picks, actually, I did say I was going to draw 3 winners for the premium Discord, so we're going to do that right now. First spin is going to be Aiden here. You won the first spot. Second spot is going to go to Solomon here. You won the second spot. And then the third spot is going to go to Dan. These are the 3 winners for the giveaway. If you're watching this video, comment below. If not, I'll just get back to you on your comment from last night's video. Alright, let's get into the actual picks now. And I'm going to be building the slip off these 3 picks that are already on the OddsJuice dashboard. I already know they're good. -127 or 56% fair odds on Jordan Poole to go under 6.5 assists. That is going to be the first pick. Like I said, we're going to build off all these guys here. So under 6.5 assists, Jordan Poole. Second one we're liking is Kevin Durant on the over 23.5 points, -121, or about a 55% chance that he goes over his 23.5 points. And as you can see, it's actually bumped as I'm filming this. That's when you know you've made a good pick, when it gets bumped higher. So obviously I'm not going to go with Kevin Durant's over 23.5 points anymore because it doesn't exist and this dashboard wasn't refreshed yet. Now the last one I was liking was DeAndre Ayton on his under 19.5 points that I was going to build off of. And if you could already imagine what I was going to do is probably take Scoot on his under 5.5 assists. But the reason I'm not going to do this, honestly, is I don't know if Ayton's going to play. He's missed the past 4 games, I believe it is. And I don't want to risk Ayton being out because then Scoot's line is going to get bumped and it's not going to be a good line for us at 5.5 assists. If Ayton does play, I do like this, but as I'm filming right now, there's no confirmation that Ayton's even going to play. He's been like on the Prizepicks board the past 4 days and has not played each of these days. So I'm not going to be risking Ayton. I do have another pick instead. And I also do have a replacement pick for that Kevin Durant. It's actually going to be Booker. So I'm going to go Booker instead. I like his over 25.5. And normally what I do, honestly, is I go Booker over points, Kevin Durant under points, things like that is what I like doing on this team. Since I liked Kevin Durant's over points, I'm not going to be taking his under in this case. I'm going to go with the next best option is Beal. The reason I'm going with this is because if we check the game tonight, OKC at home, pretty decent total. There's going to be some points. But when it comes to having the top 3 scorers on a team, it's very rare that all 3 of them are going to be going over their points. But let's say Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are both having a good game. It's very unlikely that Beal is also going to be going over this points prop. So we're hoping that Booker has a very good game. And maybe Kevin Durant or even the people around him like Grayson Allen and Nurkic are supporting. And then Beal is kind of staying back, maybe assisting more and getting under his points prop. It doesn't make sense to kind of take over on both these guys, especially in a tougher matchup. We're not expecting all these guys to shoot lights out and have perfect games. So we're hoping for Devin Booker to kind of have that perfect game and lead the charge in this more competitive game. And then Bradley Beal to step back, go under his 16.5 points. Now for Jordan Poole, when I'm grabbing an under 6.5 assists, I want to be taking a player who relies heavily on assists to get their points. And that player would be Corey here. There's also Denny that does get quite a bit of assisted points. I could show you guys right here on NBA.com. If you go and check Denny, he gets 65.6% of his field goal made are assisted, which is decent. But if we go and check Corey, he actually gets 84.3% of his field goal made assisted. And I actually checked something else. If you go and check him in the starting lineup, so change to all players to starters, get the stats. And if we go back to Corey here, you see in the games that he started, 95.8% of his field goal made are assisted. I mean, that's a crazy number. He's basically not scoring shots on his own. So if we go and grab Corey on his under 16.5 points, and Poole goes under his assists, it's very likely that these two guys hit together, especially if Poole is hogging the ball a lot and not really passing, going for a lot of points on his own. Kuzma's also in the lineup tonight. About 60% of his points are assisted, which is decent. I would prefer to see it like 50%, but I think it's still an okay spot to grab Poole on his under assists and Corey on his under points. Now, if you're feeling Denny's under, if we could check his points prop on Bet365, for example, or just any sportsbook, you see he does have juice towards that under 17.5, which does look like a better spot. But I can't gloss over the fact that Corey just doesn't get a lot of points on his own. He's getting those assisted points often, even if there isn't actually juice towards his under 6.5 points. I think it builds off perfectly off of Jordan Poole's under assists. Now, the last two picks were actually not on the OddsJuice dashboard, but I'll show you them right here. I'm going with Van Vliet on his under 8.5 assists, and you can see heavy juice towards that under 8.5 assists. He's plus 101 on the over. You definitely want to be all over that under 8.5 assists. And just to show you guys, if you guys don't know what these minus means, it means I have to lay down $133 to win $100. You see right here, 133, and I only win $100. If I go take his over, I'll have to put $99 to get $100 back. So what does that mean? Essentially, Sportsbook is saying I'll charge you less to take the over and still get the same reward because I know it's less likely to happen. So why would I ever be on Fred VanVleet's over 8.5 assists if the sportsbooks know it's the less likely outcome to happen? So under 8.5 assists is what I want to be all over, and I want to pair this up with Dylan Brooks because Dylan Brooks, another player who relies heavily on the 3-ball, first of all, and second of all, a lot of those are going to be assisted. 74.2% of his field goals made are assisted, and his 3-pointers are basically going to always be assisted. Of course, that makes sense. And about half of his points are 3-pointers, and that main assister is Fred VanVleet. Does this all make sense? VanVleet on the under 8.5 assists is what we want to rock with. And then take Dylan Brooks on his under 13.5 points. And if we look at the juice once again on Dylan Brooks, there is juice towards his under 13.5 points. Again, I have to lay down to 129 to receive 100 back. Here I have to lay down 103. They're saying the under is more likely to happen. Now, the Houston Rockets have been doing amazing recently. It's not Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks that are carrying, though. It's your boy Jalen Green. So Jalen Green has been absolutely destroying teams. 37 points, 27, 41, 26, and 42, averaging about 35 points in the last 5. And Jalen Green is a player who does not get a lot of assisted field goals made, 41.9%. Shea's the player that scored the most field goals made unassisted, 23.8%. Jalen Green is sitting at 41.9%. I know it's still far from Shea, but that's a pretty decent amount of points that he's scoring on his own unassisted, which means if Jalen Green is absolutely popping off tonight, you're going to see Fred VanVleet go under his 8.5 assists and Dylan Brooks go under his 13.5 points. That is going to be the slip for tonight. Good luck, everyone.